What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Straight Facts, a sports show that educates and entertains. I'm your boy, James Jackson. That's Jake Galley. That's Stat Matt over there. No Kyle Sirik. I mean, I'm just going to get used to us not being able to put a full roster together, but it's playoff time. So, I feel like we got to at some point. Like, we're like the Lakers right now. Sitting in the seventh seed.
I would say we're a lot like the Celtics. It's been a while since we've had our full top lineup going.
Right.
We're persevering. We're into the playoffs, so
we're into the playoffs. We're not quite the Nets because without our top lineup, I don't think we sustained the number 1 or 2 seed. But anyway, speaking of Eastern Conference playoff teams, that's just going to lead us right into the first team we're talking about because we want to get into the NBA playoffs, obviously. We talked about the play-in last episode, and currently, as we're recording Wednesday, the 19th at 5:10, the play-in game, the first Western Conference play-in game is about to start soon. Second one will be after. So we're going to stay away from the play-in games and talk about the playoffs afterwards because we don't know the matchups just yet. And that's perfect because I feel like we haven't talked about the Milwaukee Bucks that much on this podcast, and we need to, especially the new-look Milwaukee Bucks. It's not a 2-team race at the top of the Eastern Conference, and the Bucks are the reason why. They have something to say for that, absolutely. So the Bucks finished the season on an 8-2 run, and Giannis finished with very, very similar stats to his MVP season. And it's just whether or not his new supporting cast is going to show up. So, Matt, you got the facts on there. I need the facts on the Milwaukee Bucks and how they're doing.
So they're number 1 in points scored, but 22nd in points against. They lead the East in net rating. And they replaced Eric Bledsoe last year with Drew Holiday, and that was mainly just for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They saw Bledsoe coming up short in the playoffs in both the Raptors series 2 years ago and that Miami series last year, and they picked Drew Holiday. And this is the moment. And I know Milwaukee got like a really tough draw of having to play Miami and then Brooklyn if they beat Miami, but it also will show like exactly what they're able to do. Like their first series, they'll see if they're different from last year.
And I don't even know if I can take a victory lap on this.
For what?
If we remember all the way back before last year, I went out and said the Bucks aren't actually that good. When they were on that big long winning, or before the big long winning streak they had last year. I don't know if you guys remember this. I was saying the Bucks are frauds. Blah, 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 blah. This was after they choked in the playoffs of the year prior. And they went on this big, long winning streak, and you guys made me apologize for saying that.
And then once more... 52-8.
And then once more, Matt, they choked hard in the playoffs. And... you know what? I got to come back and I got to say, I was right all along.
How's it relevant now? Why do you want to pat on the back now as they're 8-2 going into the postseason, as they upgrade all around Giannis with Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker? Like, how's it relevant now?
So here's why it's relevant now. Because it's set, and you mentioned that, we haven't talked about them. And there's a reason for that. Because to this point, they have not proven that they are a true contender. They have all the bells and whistles of a contender. They have the MVP player. They've got a great coach and a great supporting staff. Their lineup is definitely scary in that regard. But their play style and on the coaching end, I don't think, Bud in the playoffs has proven he's not all that either. So it's going to take a solid run to the Eastern Conference Finals, which I don't think we get this year, to really say we're legit. You have to take us seriously. That's why I'm going back and taking a victory lap.
Okay. I guess I hear you, but They absolutely did upgrade their team, and that's why I'm giving the Milwaukee Bucks an absolutely fair shake to win the Eastern Conference. It's almost as much chances as I give the Sixers to win the Eastern Conference. They are right there because of what they did, and it was unconventional because Giannis above everybody was screaming for the Milwaukee Bucks to get him some more help. People wanted the Bucks to give Giannis help so he stays in Milwaukee. And I think it was perceived that when you give somebody help, it's on the offensive end. It's get him another scorer, get him another all-star, get him another marquee star-level player. And the Bucks gave him and surrounded him with playoff-ready talent. Like all around, plug-in pieces to help Giannis where he's not there, to help him excel at what he's doing in the playoffs, but take other stuff off of his plate that he can't necessarily do. You bring in a guy like Drew Holiday, who's great defending on the perimeter and one of the most underrated point guards in the NBA on both ends of the floor. You come in and get PJ Tucker, who can guard 1 through 4, sometimes 1 through 5 on the defensive end, and maybe even take a pivotal matchup away from Giannis. You end up facing the Brooklyn Nets or somebody. Now PJ Tucker can guard Kevin Durant for majority of the game. Giannis doesn't have to spend that energy on the defensive end. That's huge. And combined with Dante DiVincenzo, coming into form, being a starter now. Like, I think the Bucks gave him very solid help.
So
the thing is about not wanting Giannis to leave is that Giannis has been the reason why they lost. Giannis has severely underperformed the last 2 years in the playoffs. It wasn't like a LeBron situation when he was with Cleveland the first time where he was putting up 38, 8, and 8, and then they still lose. He was really struggling. He only averaged 21 and 10 against the Heat last year, and the year before his field goal percentage in the playoffs just completely collapsed compared to his regular season field goal percentage. He has not learned how to play when defended in a playoffs manner. Like, he'll light it up in the first round. I mean, like, not this year. I mean, like, in past years when they play, like, a Detroit or whatever. But when he plays the teams that actually have a chance to beat him, like Toronto 2 years ago or Miami last year, he has not been able to figure it out. And that's the reason why they've lost. And that's really what we need to see this playoff series against Miami. This needs to be a statement series from Giannis for me to actually take them seriously.
And, James, I want to go back to the point about defense, because theoretically they did improve on the defensive side of the ball when you just think about the addition of Drew Holiday, who everyone knows, phenomenal defender. But the stats don't bear that out. When you look at their points against, they're 22nd in the league. Last year they were 8th. They had a good defense last year compared to this year. And then also what I found really intriguing is when you dig down into like the field goal percentage allowed, Eric Bledsoe actually has a markedly better defensive field goal percentage than Drew Holiday does, 41.4% versus 47.4% for Drew Holiday. Now, Matt, I mean, I numbers lie sometimes. I have a tough time rationalizing.
Is Eric Bledsoe, like, come on, is Eric Bledsoe that much more of a great defensive player than Drew Holiday?
This is my take, is that Giannis last year went all out for the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year last year, and he got it. He wanted to be part of that echelon, and then he failed in the playoffs. And this year, he hasn't played that hard on defense compared to last year. He's been a good defender, but he's clearly taken a step back. And I think they viewed the regular season as let's learn how to play together, and the playoffs is where the regular season doesn't matter to the Bucks anymore because they already conquered it. They've been the best regular season team in the East for the last 3 years.
They're the best team in the NBA. Best team in the NBA. Yeah.
And it doesn't. So this is it really comes down to how they play against Miami. If Drew Holiday can lock down Goran Dragic or Jimmy Butler, whoever they put him on, it's about Giannis overcoming Bam Adebayo. It's about all these things, and that's what makes them so intriguing because they get the test immediately. And Bud's, the reports are out, he's going to be fired if they don't make a deep run, which means, like, even if they play Brooklyn tough in 7, looks like he's out.
Yeah.
So
if
it's a tough 7-game series against the Heat, they're going to get waxed by Brooklyn.
Yeah, they can't put mileage on themselves like that.
If they dominate Miami in the first round, winning in 5 or sweeping, then they'll have a shot.
Jake, you believe that if they lose to Miami, or even if they don't make an Eastern Conference Finals or Finals run, that Bud's out? Is he that much on the hot seat?
I mean, sometimes they leak this type stuff to like juice up the team. If you remember this, a very similar report came out about Brett Brown, and they ended up keeping him. I would have to think, though, even given how good Brooklyn is, if they don't make it to the conference finals, like it's bigger than just your coach not being the guy. Like, you're on a clock with Giannis to where who knows if he's going to pull an Anthony Davis type situation. There's already been rumors that he doesn't want to play in Milwaukee if they're not winning and if they can't build a championship team around him.
Who would?
Exactly, right. Milwaukee, it's a shithole, as Joel Embiid said. But I think for a lot of reasons, it's bigger than just Coach Bud's, performance or lack thereof.
Right.
It is is this going to be a move that appeases Giannis when we came up short?
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately for them, as luck would have it, Jimmy Butler didn't play in any of the 3 matchups that the Bucks played the Heat this year. So now the best player comes back to play that killed you in the playoffs last year, and you haven't even been able to do your homework on him if you're a Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker, one of these defenders who've come in and haven't faced him yet. So
and remember, the Heat are the defending champions of the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a big. They're still good. They struggled off the gate. A lot of that because of the very short offseason. But Butler had COVID early. But since then, they've been really good. So they're not someone. I think they're the 4th best team in the East. It's just they're the 6th seed.
That's tough for the Bucks.